Did you see the message?
Oop, got distracted.
That is literally why you grabbed your phone.
Yeah.
You are munching that gum.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
board games.
And
Jamie's crazy hair.
That's honestly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, look at this. What do I need to do just to have smooth hair? When I make our thumbnails...
Oh yeah, actually it is crazy. Go look. Oh, wolf. Look at that.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
You're going to go on camera like this? Oh,
Jeff, stop.
Embarrassing.
Oh, stop it. All right, where were we? We are back again today with another board game snapshot. There it is.
You didn't react.
Because I never know. If you do it quiet, I don't get scared. But if you scream
I can't do it loud in here.
Yeah, we have neighbors. They'll hear us. I'm always like, can they hear me when I film?
No.
I can hear them when they're in the hallway. Anyways, for anybody that doesn't know, our Board Game Snapshot series is a series of videos that we do where we review or preview 5 games. They're like 5 mini reviews, like this. Pew, 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 pew. And snapshot's a hockey term, apparently.
For a second, I was like, what's this on my shirt? It's
the microphone. So we have 5 games here for you today, all of which were gifted to us. One from a community member, the rest from the publishers. We'll let you know kind of what's what as we go. But I say we get into it. We get into it here. And we're going to start with Khlor from Tembo Games, who are very kindly sponsoring this portion of today's video. Now, Khlor is coming to Kickstarter. All of the information is going to be in the description below. Let's talk about it a little bit. Now, Khlor is an abstract strategy game. It does have a little bit of a theme where there's dragons trying to protect their eggs from demons, which are these things with the one eyes, classic demons. So basically how this game works is you are going to have a board, and then on that board there's like little square spots with different colors. To set up the game, you're going to be placing 2 random demons stacked on top of each other in each one of those squares. 2 random demons, okay? The demons, once again, look like this. And there's a variety of colors. There's red, there's yellow, purple, green.
Why are you
There's blue.
Why are you doing
etc. Okay? I actually think that's all of them. So during the game, what you are going to do is you are going to choose a polyomino style tile from
all the colors
circle.
on the front.
You're going to choose a polyomino shaped tile from the circle around the board, and there's a dragon token that's going to be moving. Kind of think of it very similar to how like the patchwork tile selection works. So you can choose 2 tiles, or New York Zoo, exactly. You could choose 2 tiles in front of the dragon.
Patchwork.
I already said it. Nova Luna.
Nova Luna.
Way ahead of you. Anyways, you are going to take that tile and you are going to place it somewhere on the board so that you are able to capture 3 demons. And you're like, how the heck do you capture demons? Great question. There's little images of demons, and if you place the tile on top of those demons, you get to capture them. Okay? Now, when those stacks empty, you then get to choose a couple of other things. Do you want to lay a dragon egg? Do you want to place a dragon egg out? You get to choose a color of one of the demons that you captured, and you lay eggs out of all that color. Okay? What?
Just the K's. There's a lot of K's.
It's for Simon. The other option that you have once there's dragon eggs out is that you can pick them up if there's an egg symbol matching where an egg is. And you're like, why the heck? Why am I putting them out and then picking them up? That sounds crazy. It's not. Because what you're trying to do, you're just going to keep doing this until somebody cannot pick up. There's no possible way for them to pick up 3 dragons. You're doing this because you're trying to get majority demons. Thank you. You're trying to get majority in different colors. So as you score, you're going to see who has picked up the most purple demons. And you're going to look at your stacks, and then you're going to count the purple eggs on the board, basically. So you're trying to get the majority in different colors, or in a higher player game, you're trying to get second majority. I will mention, we did a playthrough, a live stream of this, and we did the scoring just a little bit wrong in a 2-player game. The second player doesn't get the half points as they do in a larger player game. But just so you know, that's kind of what your goal is. We played it the spicy version because we like points. So that's essentially how the game works. If you want a full kind of like overview and watch the gameplay, we played it 2 times on our stream, and I will link that below. You can go and watch that to see if it might be a good fit for you. But like I mentioned, this game is going to be on Kickstarter. All of the information, if you're interested, in the link below. Definitely for people who enjoy that abstract strategy kind of puzzly game, because really not only are you trying to kind of collect different things and make sure your tile fits, but you're also having to pay attention to what the other players are doing and making sure they're not getting too far ahead in certain colors. And then this game is also, it can be very mean because people are putting out their little eggies and you might be like, nope, I'm going to take your eggie away. Okay, so it's also for players who enjoy a good, mean game. But that, my friends, is Khlor. Once again, I will link in the description our playthrough. We played it twice because it plays pretty quickly. Actually, at 2-player. The box says around 30 minutes and is 1 to 4 players. So you can also play it solo, but the solo mode is still being developed right now. So I don't know exactly how it's going to work. But that's Khlor, my friends. So information in the description, and shout out to Tembo Games for sponsoring this portion of the video.
First up for me is from Office Dog, who did kindly send this to us. We have Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, trick-taking game.
It's a very long title.
It is a very hot piece of juice right now.
Hot piece of juice.
It's a hot piece of juice.
That is a good phrase that everybody should be using on a daily basis.
That should be on a sticker.
Hot piece of juice.
That's a hot piece of juice right here.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Is that what it's called?
Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Trick-taking game. Is a cooperative trick-taking game in the world of Lord of the Rings.
What?
Ultimately,
Crazy.
what you are trying to do is play through a bunch of different scenarios in this game and play with different characters who are going to have different conditions of victory that you need to achieve when you play as those characters. In every scenario, someone has to play as Frodo.
Unless we haven't played through the entire game, but unless the chapter says you don't need to.
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure everyone.
Yeah, and again, this is a scenario-based game, so we don't want to spoil anything. So we're not going to get into too much detail on how the scenarios play out. Effectively, what you're trying to do is win tricks. And again, those tricks are going to be won depending on what the situation is in front of you. Think of it like the crew or the gang. There are limited opportunities to communicate.
Yes.
I mean, in this game, Frodo, if he's in, this isn't really a spoiler.
It's the first chapter.
For example, needs to win a bunch of tricks that have the ring symbol as the suited card type, effectively. So you want to make sure Frodo wins ring tricks. The other character might need to have the most tricks of everyone in the round, effectively.
Have the least.
In a 2-player game, so this does play 1 to 4. We have not played the solo variant of this. But for reference, in the 2-player mode, there is a third pyramid of cards that are going to act as the third player. And it actually plays pretty well as a 2-player trick-taking game. So how the pyramid works is essentially there will be cards revealed, and as you play out those cards from the pyramid, other cards are going to reveal themselves. Like in Seven Wonders Duel, for example. And there's a system of if there is a suit value out there and those cards are up, you play it into the trick. And the players get to kind of choose the order of which those come out. So you can be strategic and be like, okay, well, we don't want this character to win a trick right now. So let's play the lower value of the card suit that's out right now. So you have some ability to make decisions there. The
Frodo character will get to decide kind of how that AI character plays. And if you're wondering who gets to be Frodo, it's whoever draws the one ring card, because all of the cards are going to be distributed in a game. If you have the one ring card, you're Frodo. In a 2-player game, if neither of you have it, that means the AI character is Frodo, and that's fine, and then you can kind of share that thing. The only other thing I want to mention, it is a standard trick-taking game, as in it's must follow. There's 5 suits that you can play. You can't play a ring card until one has already been played, which is very similar to another trick-taking game.
It's similar to, there's a bunch that do it, but the one that's coming to my mind is Cat in a Box. You can't play a red card can't play red until red's been played.
Exactly. The question is, do we like this game? Because we famously do not enjoy the crew.
Yeah. Spicy take here. So if I was to rank these, this is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Then the gang. Mm-hmm. Then the crew.
For sure.
Way down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Off the map.
I'm so curious if we played the crew again now that I know how to do trick taking, if we'd like it more.
We maybe should try it again. But again, I am famously a biased Lord of the Rings fan. But I think this plays really, really well.
Yeah.
And I've talked to other people that also don't like the crew and also are kind of mid on the gang that really liked this.
Right.
So I don't think it's just us that are having that experience with it. There's something smooth about it, and I like that everyone has their own kind of like, it's not really asymmetry, but it's like you have your own specific objective, as opposed to like there's a group, everyone wants to achieve their own objective, so there is a cooperative group experience here, but it's also like you get to play your own little mini game, I think, in front of you, and I really like that.
Yeah, I think for me, like the big difference is, number one, obviously we know the characters and how they play is a little bit thematic to the characters themselves, and you're kind of playing out the story. There's two kind of different types. Once again, we haven't played through the whole game, but there's two different types of like victory conditions. A short is that everybody achieves the goal on their card, or a long is that you get a list of characters and you have to play through all of them until you achieve all of their goals. Yeah. So I like that that's what it is, because you could kind of be like, well, I should take Bilbo now, and maybe we'll take Gandalf later, and we'll do this, and all of these different things. And I just think it's really enjoyable, and it's very simple, specifically like the first few chapters, and then more rules are going to get added as you go. New characters are going to be revealed, and I really enjoyed it. I just think this is definitely, for me, a little bit more of like a cozy version of the crew. Less stress.
I mean, again, so far.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the last chapter. And if you're wondering, because it is kind of scenario-based, you can, of course, always reset, replay the scenarios. But once you get through all of them, there is something in the rulebook that will tell you how to go beyond and how to continue to play the game beyond the scenarios, basically. So anyways, we really enjoyed it. It's beautiful. Like, look at that holographic. The artwork is awesome within it. And it's Lord of the Rings. Highly recommend. Alrighty, next up we have from Good Games Publishing, who very kindly sent us this game, we have Curses and Covens. Now this is a game for 4 to 6 players, which typically, you know us, we'd be playing that too, but sometimes we get to play with more people. This is, I want to say social deduction, but it's social deduction in a bit of a different way. So how this game works is one player is the witch hunter. Everybody else are townsfolk. And the witch hunter is trying to capture witches, and the townsfolk are actually on the side of the witches. So they want to protect the witch. So the one player that's a townsfolk, how they win is they capture 5 of any witch. There's different types of witches. There's hearts, there's leaves.
You said the townsfolk wins.
Sorry, the witch hunter wins if they capture 5 witches. There's 3 different kinds of witches. I'm just going to say the symbol, heart, diamond, and leaf, and then there's one wild witch, and there's a bunch within the box. So if they capture all of those, they win. If they gain 2 relics, they're going to lose. And then for the townspeople, they are trying to get 3 of a kind, basically, in their hand to create a witch coven. So how the game is going to work, they are going to be passing out these cards. There's some information. So for the townsfolk, their first 2 cards that they get dealt, everything is public, so the witch hunter can see what everybody has, and they can start planning for later on in their turn. Then the witch hunter is actually going to take a card, look at it, and pass it out to each person. So they're also going to have a little bit more information. There is some open communication within the townsfolk, as in everybody can talk to each other to be like, hey, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. But remember, the witch hunter is listening to you. So you have to like almost create your secret communication. And then the witch hunter is going to get to take a card from somebody essentially. And the game is going to continue on like that until an end game condition is met. And so the reason why I say it's not like a standard social deduction is because you're not like, you know who the witch hunter is. And you know the witches are kind of scattered, and nobody's playing as a specific character otherwise in the way that like you would for werewolf or something like that.
Yeah, it's almost like this pseudo don't mess with Cthulhu, werewolf, kind of hybrid.
Totally.
But again, like you're allowed to kind of communicate. It's unique.
And another thing that the townsfolk with their witches can do is they can cast spells. And yeah, look at the little witch hat. That's for the first player token. It's like a little felt witch hat. Adorable. So there's these spells. So if you have like these two kinds of witches in your hand, you can cast this spell and then they flip over and then suddenly you've got curses that you can do. So the curses are doom, darkness, and despair, and then charm of growth, passage, and nature. So that's another element of the game. And I just wanted to kind of shout out the, how pretty. So these are the relic cards. So once again, if the witch hunter gets 2, they lose. But the artwork and everything is gold foiled. So these are the townsfolk. I just want to show you because there's a dog. Oh. And Jeff's favorite, a donkey.
Donkey.
So there's a bunch of townsfolk. There is a fake witch. Okay. And then you have a bunch of different witches, including the wild witch. But the artwork, the production on this, like their tarot card styles, it's just...
We should bring that to level up.
We should bring this to level up. It's so... Whoopsies.
It's a good game to play with like a bigger
pretty
group.
Yeah, I think you could play up to 4 to 6. So...
How cute would this hat look on Nandy?
Oh my God, Nandy would love to wear that hat. So the question is whether or not we like it. Obviously, yes, we're going to be taking it to level up with us because I would like to play this at a full player count and just kind of see how it works. It has a really like interesting, like the mechanic of having that open information and open communication is interesting when you're trying to develop a plan, but you don't, you need to be careful with what you say. Because if you're like, well, I really need another heart witch, and you say that out loud, and then you're passing cards, because as a townsfolk, you get to pass cards between each other, and the witch hunter, which is obviously you, that's why
I was just going to say, my only issue with these is I always want to be the
witch hunter?
The one person that's kind of pseudo playing against the group.
Exactly. It plays really quickly, so it's another kind of game that you could kind of get to the table, play a few rounds, like great filler game for your game night. It's just so pretty. And I think it's really fun, and it's like kind of light. And like I said, it makes a great filler game for your game night. And we're definitely going to bring it to level up to hopefully get to play it at a full player count. So I believe this was kickstarted maybe last year and it's starting to fulfill to its backers. So this, if it's not already available on Good Games Publishing website, it will be soon and at your friendly local gaming stores. So if you're looking for a new fun little social deduction game, I would definitely recommend this one.
All right, next up we have a gift from a Discord community member. Again, not to dox, but thank you very much for finding us at PAX, saying hello and talking. Meetup. So we want to play it for a long time, and that is Fliptown. Fliptown is from Right Stuff Games, and it is a flip and write game. And it is kind of a Western-themed poker flip and write. So the best way to think about this game is it has all of the traditional combo-iness of roll and writes, of flip and writes, etc., etc. Where this game is different is you're I gotta stop saying effectively. You're essentially going to flip up 3 cards, and these cards are a standard deck of cards: ace to 2, different suits, hearts, clubs, spades, diamonds. As you flip those 3 cards up, you then have a decision to make. One of those cards is going to be your poker hand card. One of those cards is going to be your suit card, and one of those cards is going to be your number card. And the poker card is going to go into a poker hand that you're going to score at the end of a round. The other 2 cards are going to determine where you're allowed to take an action in, or take an action as in where you're going to be able to cross off a section of your map. There's like a town section, there's a robbery section, there's a train section, for example, and all of these things are going to combo off of each other. So for example, if I choose, and I don't choose for the group, each person chooses individually what they want to do. So if it was a 7 diamonds, an 8 club, and an ace of spades, maybe I'd be like, okay, I want to put the ace of spades in my poker hand, and I would write that down, and then I want to do the club action with a 7 value. So I'm going to go to the club section of my map, and do the 7 value of that section, whether it's in the town, the train. That's the basic premise. That's where the uniqueness of this game comes in, is those 3 cards that are going to determine your action. And I thought it was very, very, very good.
Loved it.
I've expressed this numerous times on the channel. Sometimes with these roll and writes and these flip and writes, the combos can be too much. And this one was a perfect level of not being so combo-y that I get lost in them, but not so light that I was kind of just bored.
Yeah.
It was this really nice harmony. And I also love Western themed stuff. I'm really in my Western themed element right now. And I really enjoyed this. The only thing I would say is you can really play this game with a deck of cards and a printout. And
it was originally a printout.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense then. But I really like the production of this game. It's really beautiful. Nice. And it might be one of my favorite, like, flip and writes. And I really, really, really enjoyed it.
I also loved it. I am very excited to try it solo, because you can play this solo as well. And you play over 3 rounds, so you get 3 poker hands. That's the only piece, but everything's listed on it. If you're not familiar with poker, that poker hand piece might be a little confusing, because like our first round, there was an ace, and I took something else, and Jeff was like...
Yeah, Jamie took like a... I mean, whatever. You can take whatever you want, but I was like, you might want to take the ace.
I was like, what am I doing? And
actually, you identified it. You were like, why didn't I take the ace? And then I was like, I was thinking that. I wasn't going to say anything. Yeah. Because I don't want to quarterback.
But it offers you, like, this game offers you, for such like a simple-ish rule set, like so much choice within those 3 cards, because it's like, oh shoot, like let's say it was the ace of spades, but I really needed to take a spade action because it was going to give me a better combo. So you have to like weigh your options like that.
I think the options are really great too. Like, for example, how the train tracks work is like you're kind of chugging along on all of these different stations, but if you go so far, you can't go back. Just like, a train would probably work. You can't just turn around and go back to an old station on the whim. Yeah. So, like, you kind of have to make this decision of, like, because if you use a 5, for example, you can trigger everything. One
thing up to a 5. I
shouldn't say everything. You can trigger one thing from 2 to 5. Or ace to 5, because ace can also be 1s. Yeah. Et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, you pick one of those options. But if I pick the 5, I then no longer have access to 4 or anything below. Correct. So it's really this interesting, like, oh, do I really want to get this powerful option right now? Or do I want to wait? But then it might not come up again. Yeah.
And I don't know if you mentioned, but there's also a sheriff. Yeah. And you have to manage your warrants or your wanted.
Your wanted level, yeah.
And, like, that is another piece to this that you really need to manage, because it can totally screw you. Because you have to pay money, you have to do all of these things, and that's a hidden card at the beginning.
That's a key thing I missed, actually, yes. There is a hidden card, which is the sheriff card, and that is not public information. That is going to be drawn off the top of the deck each round. That card has a value on it. And if you're within the threshold of that card, the sheriff is going to arrest you, and then you're going to lose points or money, depending on your wanted value. There's ways you can, like, peek at that card on the map. There's so much going on. Like, the town spaces, there's so many options that you can go to. But again, there's a ton of options, but they don't, like, go crazy with, like, this long,
it's very
6
intuitive
combo knee. Yeah. Like, oh, what did I do? Like, that's my issue.
Yeah, you get lost.
I'm like, okay, well, this lets me do this, which lets me do this, let me do this. Then I'm like, wait, did I do this? This doesn't have that. It's like it's a very...
Not just like a little baby combos.
It's very systematic in the way it gets you to do things, and I really, really appreciated that about it. It was...
Great.
It was way better than I thought it was going to be. I figured we would like it, and I knew I would somewhat enjoy it because of the theme, but man, I really liked that game.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we have Wild Gardens, and this is from Rose Gauntlet Games. They did send us an upgraded copy of this, although I also did back it on Kickstarter. Wild Gardens is a game where you are kind of going along this map in order to forage different ingredients so that you can cook different recipes so that you can serve different people. So basically, you are now. Here's the thing. You say effectively, I say basically, and someone in the comments was like, effectively is better than basically. I was like, God damn.
We need a effectively
and basically
counter.
So essentially, just both of our new words, you have different action pawns with numbers on them. They're little like cylinders, and then there's 3 sections of your board that have actions on them. So on your turn, you are going to place one of those pawns onto your board. The number on it is going to indicate how many spaces you get to move along the trail.
Foraging path.
Along the foraging path. And there are ways to kind of go from this end over to here and all of that stuff. Then you are going to do whatever action you have selected. Maybe it's picking up different ingredients. Maybe it's cooking up a recipe. That's what you're doing. And you are playing over, I think it's like 3 weeks basically. So each round consists of like 3 days. Then you're going to reset. You're going to do that again. And you are just trying to score as many points as possible. So it's really heavy on resource management.
It's an optimization puzzle.
It's an optimization puzzle, really heavy on resource management and also like trying to think, because you can reserve cards as well. So if you're like, oh, Jeff's getting a lot of mushrooms over there, and I also have a lot, and I really wanted to make this recipe, so you can like reserve cards. There's also like a library section, which is going to allow you to learn different things, which is then going to allow you to put out new actions onto your board. So each section is going to have 2 basics, and then you can start adding actions so your turns can become more and more powerful. At the end of each kind of round, you are going to be putting one of those action tokens away. So then you're going to lose that number. So you have to also be like, do I really need this 3 or can I get away with a 1 and all of these different things. So there's just kind of like a lot of bits and bobs going on. But with all that being said, I would consider this definitely a lightweight game. The rule set is very simple. I think pretty much anybody could play this.
Yeah, I think it falls in that light to...
It's like Gateway Plus, I think.
Light to midweight, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And you can play this solo, which I haven't done yet, but it comes with an entire like solo kind of campaign book, which I'm actually really excited to try because a lot of people have said this is one of their favorite like solo cozy games.
I can see that for sure. It's got the vibe.
I would definitely classify this as a cozy game. The only thing that's a little bit less cozy about it is there's a lot of pieces. So the setup is it's a bit more, I guess, involved. Yeah, exactly. But there's also 2 boards, so there's a lot of variability. You're kind of changing things up on the board with like the foraging tokens and
tons of recipes.
So many cards,
make.
Exactly.
Like food and drinks
and people, and we have all of the expansion packs. Which is really cool. So anyways, that is kind of like a general gist of the game. Now, whether or not we liked it, I personally really enjoyed it. I love games that have to do with making recipes.
Yeah.
And Jeff does not enjoy that for some reason.
I enjoyed this game for how much of this type of game I can enjoy it. My only qualm, and I'll let kind of you go on about it because it's definitely more your cup of tea than mine. The only qualm I really had with this is I just felt like it played too long for the type of game it is. I mean, we played it 2-player and it took like an hour and a half.
Yeah, the box says 90 to 120 minutes.
It just felt too long for me for what I was doing. Yeah. And that's it. But it didn't necessarily overstay its welcome. I just felt by the end of the game I was like, I just feel like maybe 1 less round or something. Yeah. But again, that's me saying it because it's not kind of in my realm of games I overly enjoy.
Yeah, I definitely liked it a lot more because I really enjoy games that involve recipe making, food, like collecting the resources, then using the resources to do something. So you're almost like planning ahead. It's like, okay, well, I use this 3 and I'm going to need to take this action. I'm going to have to go here. And you can't go on the same space as somebody else. So if they move into a space, you have to skip over them. And then also like serving the guests. I do think I can see this being more of like a solo cozy game for me. I might do a solo mode on it. I might try to go through some of the solo campaign. Also, it's beautiful.
Yes.
We do have all of the upgraded bits, I think, for it, like all of the wooden pieces, which were really lovely. And I also have the little like stuffy little sprout.
What I will say is like,
guy.
I think this is, if you like cozy video games, like Stardew Valley and like farming sims, like this feels kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like most of those games have a big foraging element, like walking around the woods and trying to find forage items to add to your cooking recipes and stuff. Like that's this. So like if that's in your wheelhouse of like video games you enjoy and cozy games, like I echo 100% what Jamie's saying.
Yeah, and we also did get the media pack, and I was able to, I fed Rodney, I got Monique and Naveen, I got Nick and Mike, and I was like very specifically trying to create recipes that they like, because each guest has specific types of recipes that they like. And then there's also like different locations, and because Rodney was in the game, PEI was one of the locations, which I thought was really cool. So anyways, I really enjoyed it. I think if it's something that piques your interest, you should definitely try it out, because it's just a beautiful little cozy game. And
it's
I really
exactly
liked it.
that. Yeah. If that's what you're interested in and looking for, this nails that.
Yeah, this fits the bill for sure. Yeah. All right, and those are 5 more games that we have been playing recently and what we think about them. We'd love to know in the comments below, have you played any of these? What do you think? We would love to know. And once again, just a reminder about Khlor on Kickstarter. The information is going to be in the description, so you can click them links, back it if you like it, do all that good stuff.
CTL, man.
CTL. Click them links. That is everything that we have for you today. Now, if you're just in buying board games like any of the many we talked about today, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. For us, that is
Boardroom Game Cafe.
And if you like what you see,
please subscribe.
We hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Goodbye.
There it is.
I feel like I sound like Mickey Mouse there. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Daniel, do you hear that? Yeah, the new theory for Reputation is that, I'm going to tell you anyway. So, during the Eras tour, there's like different moments in the crowd where they do something at specific parts of songs. And during the song Delicate, she got everybody chanted 1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch. Right? 1, 2, 3, January 23rd. So now people are thinking, was she telling us something?
Or she was just saying 1, 2, 3. Why?
Was she telling us something?
Taylor Swift fans are
1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch. You're too far that way.
You're not gonna tug me?
Well, you always get mad when I tug you. You're like, I'm not a tugboat.
Jamie, you got to get rid of that gum.
It still has flavor though.
It has crunch in it.
Bloop. Don't let me drink that.
I'm not being responsible.
I put my gum in it. I have the most flyaways. I'm gonna freaking float off into space.
I don't know what that means.
Do you see all these little hairs?
You always have those.
Yeah, but they're worse now.
No, they're not.
No.
They've always been there.
Yes. Okay. And we start with... Is that a dog?
No, someone's whistling.
Oh.
Whistling Dixie. Okay, me?
Yeah.
My turn. All right, first up from... I should say first
Office
up.
Dog.
No, I know it's from Office Dog. But I said first up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not first.
No,
first
it's
for
next.
me,
Yeah.
not for us.
No.
But effectively, what you're trying to do is play trick or try. Whoa.
So